I'm going to look at the status of enterprise AI as we see it right now. Then I'm going to look at some cross-industry use cases, then get into some vertical industries, and then look at infrastructure, why it's important and why it is resource hungry, and AI is resource hungry, and then look at what's next for enterprise AI. So what we're going to talk about today and what our data here at 451 Research demonstrates are really, we try and answer two questions. So what are the use cases and business drivers behind enterprise investment now and in the future in AI and machine learning, and how? What are the infrastructure changes that are happening and need to happen in the future to make AI work at scale? So they're the two kind of parts that we're going to look at, and then we have data throughout. And that data we should add comes from 451 Research's Voice of the Enterprise. You see the logo in the bottom left-hand corner there. That's our series of end-user survey products. We have numerous subjects covered in those surveys on IoT and security and cloud and lots of other things. I look after the one to do with AI and machine learning. And the people we survey are practitioners at organizations, large and medium-sized organizations, who actually understand what is going on in their organizations in terms of adoption of AI and machine learning. So let's have a look at some of that early data just to get started. What I like to think about is when people ask me, where are we in the AI adoption curve, I kind of like to think about S-curves, because in any period of exponential growth, it's worth asking yourself, when is this thing going to turn into an S-curve? Because ultimately, most trends are S-curves. There could be things such as the evaporation of water, how the universe was expanded, and more relevant to us, how technology is adopted. So if you kind of transpose Everett Rogers' adoption frameworks there in terms of looking at how where people are in the spectrum, I think we're roughly around there. Now that is not particularly scientific assessment. That is not actually based on strictly speaking on data, but I think we're extremely early here. And sometimes when you are in that very early period, change can be almost imperceptible. So you don't see at the moment entire industries being completely transformed by AI, and this leads sometimes I find to the kind of something of a backlash against AI. People thinking it's all hype. It's not all hype. It's real. It's just that often the applications themselves are quite narrow. So we ask people how they would describe their organization's current machine learning adoption status. And you see about 20% there say they have it in use in production. Another 20% say they have it in a proof of concept stage, a POC stage. And then another 13% say they're not using it yet, but they plan to within the next 12 months. Now, I should say this question is a somewhat binary one. It's, are you using it or are you not using it? If you're not using it, where might you use it? But you could be using one security application or one CRM application that has machine learning built in, and therefore the answer is yes. Just to give you some perspective, about 6 months before, these numbers were about 16 and 17%. So they've gone up sort of 3 or 4 percentage points. We expect further increases next time we ask this in a couple of months' time, and then so on and so forth, increasing to the point where the answer would just be yes for everybody. So we won't ask such a binary question. But at the moment, I think you were still very early. So it's worth asking. We also asked people, how's it going, frankly? And 37% said very successful, 55% somewhat successful. So overall, people are pretty happy with what they're getting from machine learning. Now, there are various ways you can go about implementing AI and machine learning. And I should say, I use the terms interchangeably. I know they're different. AI is a superset, machine learning is a subset, but bear with me just for the sake of clarity here. So we asked people, what is your strategy? How are you going about implementing this? And we gave them 4 options, essentially. So starting at the bottom left, we asked them, are you using open source machine learning tools to build your own applications? Are you using a Jupyter notebook with a team of data scientists and doing all that work and building your own custom apps? Then we asked them top left there, are you using vendor provided tools? Are you using stuff you're buying from AWS, Google, Microsoft, IBM, H2O, any of these kind of commercially available software, whether it's in the cloud or not, doesn't really matter for the sake of this question. And then building your own custom applications. The top right one there, it says service providers. The actual question we asked them were really systems integrator. We gave them a list of systems integrators such as Wipro and Accenture and Capgemini. And we said, are you using these kind of companies to build custom applications? And then on the bottom right, we asked them, rather than any of those options, are you buying applications with machine learning already built in? As you can see, the last of those is the most popular. So these are companies, we gave them examples such as SAP and Salesforce, Einstein, and things like that, that people may be using. But the open source tools and the vendor provided tools are pretty strong as well. If you add those two together, you've got just over 50%. So that gives you an idea. There is a lot of building going on in organizations building their own custom applications. And the systems integrators are quite low there. I think a couple of years beforehand, that would have been a much higher percentage. But yeah, because in the early stages, no, people really didn't know what they were doing. But I think it's changing a bit now.